Alpha, the first letter of the Greek alphabet. Alpha, the beginning, the start. Alpha, the name given to a school that is and continues to be a benchmark for primary education in Grenada. These walls have shaped the minds of so many of the nation's young. These walls, the epitome of simplicity and excellence. These walls, believe it or not, were but a mere dream of Shirley Agnes Brafitt, a young, vibrant individual with a passion for education, teaching, and children.
Education, first and foremost. And then it was always, she always talked about starting a school. I myself was not fully aware how strong this passion was until I saw her really move to get into it. And she developed it, quite frankly, against all the odds, in the sense that when you looked at the economics of it, it was not the most viable of propositions, but it was what she wanted to do, and she found ways and means to get it going.
And so at the time of our birth, and soon after we were born, she would collect all the little storybooks and so on that we would read, and she would invest in other books because her intention was to essentially open a school.
What I remember is that she was teaching at Wesley College, and she taught others in other secondary schools as well. I got the impression that she saw from teaching in secondary schools a lot of weaknesses in students and so on. And she came to the conclusion that it was time for her to arrest the problems at the very root, i.e. the creation and starting off her own school, which she always wanted to start.
My first recollection of how she started Alpha was actually my sister, Aisha Brafitt, now Aisha Campbell. As we were going home one day, Aisha looked at this building and she said, "Mommy, that will be a school one day." And Mommy kind of dismissed her because at the time people were living in the building. And it was a home, it was not even a school, it was not, a commercial building, it was just somebody's house.
The building that the Alpha School is in was once my home. It was owned by my family, and I grew up in that building.
As Aisha persisted in this interest in this building, one day she drew the building and she wrote Mummy School, or something to that effect, essentially Mummy School in. And soon after, I think it inspired Mommy to probably try to find out what was happening with the building.
Despite all odds, Shirley's incessant character prevailed, and with the support of family and friends, Alpha the Dream became Alpha Junior on the 14th September 1987 and opened its doors to the first batch of students.
Alpha opened on the 14th of September 1987. And we had 74 students with 5 teachers. The 5 teachers were Mrs. Brafitt, myself, Miss Bowen, she's now Mrs. Pemberton, Mrs. Angela John, she's now in England, in Canada, and Miss Brave Boy.
When we came into the yard in September of 1987, it was not paved. It was a graveled yard.
I remember the perfume trees. We were always getting the nice aromas of the different plants around, and it was a fun place. It was nice. It was partly wooden and concrete until we eventually went into concrete all the way, but it was just one level. There was no upstairs and downstairs at that time.
We didn't have upstairs yet, and the back of the school was out of bounds.
But we could see the other kindergarten class because there wasn't a separation between classes. I remember that.
There was a big open space.
Yeah.
Yes, the class was big.
Yep.
Karakou was one of my most memorable experiences. Our French teacher, the one from Quebec.
Who would teach us the
song?
song?
She taught us the song. And we we brought him back to the school after singing in the rain and
Pick Hello Mimi thing.
Remember
that one?
Singing in the rain.
It's that Blue Moon song, like
Blue Moon. Yeah. Blue Moon. I remember that night we were walking on the streets.
I was at Alpha since the gates opened, you know, if I'm not mistaken, back in 87? I was born in 85. So I would have been 2 going into Alpha, and you know, from the beginning, you would know that it's one of the things that really differentiates your experience at Alpha. I mean, I had Miss Martin, you know, at reception, or KG1, whatever it is that, you know, it may have been called now. You know, people like Miss Nichols, who again was something similar to Miss Rapid. I was really afraid of being there, and actually getting to the class now, you know, you realize that they're really out for your best interest. Sometimes at times, like, you know, you don't see it, but the teachers at Alpha, they're consistently there for your well-being.
Alpha is like a second family. Because it's a small private school, everybody knows everybody. And besides that, our teachers were like really supportive, really helpful. I love them all, you know.
No sooner had Alpha opened its doors that it began to assert its presence in the world of primary education, not solely in academics, but in culture and sports. In 1989, Alpha topped the island in the Common Entrance examinations. This marked the alpha of Alpha's academic history of excellence.
I think all educators at the Ministry of Education saw Alpha as one of the top schools in the island. They performed well not only in the academics, they performed well in the Festival of the Arts. I remember them winning lots of things in the Festival of the Arts.
In the last 9 years, when I came on, we had top 20 positions. I know we were there top 10 and top 5 before. And the second year, my first grade 6 class, we got a first position in Alana St. Bernard. But what I'm excited and feel really good about is what happens after the kids go off to secondary school. My joy is to see the Alpha or former Alpha students excelling at CXC and beyond in National College and so on. Sean Mabubani is one of the persons who really stands out in my mind now. He was second in Common Entrance, but from the time he went to secondary school, he has led at Westmoreland up to this very day. He got the Marisho Cup and many other things. He was just awesome, and that's just testimony to what Alpha has been doing, and we're providing an all-round education for all. We're trying to support the kids in every possible way. We try to strengthen their strengths and improve on their weaknesses.
Tashana Gittins, Daniel Marisho, Shay Davidson, and Carol Williams. Yes, placed in the top 10. That was an outstanding year for Alpha. That was the first time I ever took 5 positions in the top 10. So, you know, the school was very proud of us. Our parents were very proud. On a whole, I think we were in the newspaper and stuff like that. So it was nice.
I think Alpha has a knack for giving its students a very well-rounded education, all-rounded education, and still retaining our innocence.
I think Alpha is a true spirit of our motto: enjoy work, love God and life. Everybody was like a family at Alpha.
I consider myself very culture-oriented. I love to know and learn about our heritage and all these things. I think we are very well-rounded in that sense, and I really appreciate that.
In 2006, Alpha was struck by the untimely passing of Shirley Agnes Braffett, and hence was plunged into a period of grief, instability, and uncertainty. The light has gone out of our lives. The famous words of Pandit Nehru when announcing Mahatma Gandhi's death and so applicable were they to the Alpha family. The light of Mrs. Braffith, Shirley, Auntie Shirley, had gone out in the lives that she had touched and undoubtedly in the education system she had helped to revolutionize.
Shirley is dead. Up to now, I have not really gotten over Shirley's death. I mean, Shirley was the dynamo within our family. She was the undisputed leader of among all my father's kids.
Well, her illness and her passing were very traumatic periods for myself as an individual, obviously, and for the entire family and many close friends. And coming in her mid-50s at a relatively young age, and when you least expected something like this to have occurred, and one felt the pain and agony as you went to the school and you talked to the teachers and you talked to the staff and the pupils, indeed, in fact. So there was throughout the Alpha community, as we say, there was much grief at that time.
She was a motivator. She was an educator. Mrs. Braffith was full of life and loved life. You know, she enjoyed whatever she did.
In their life, whether in Alpha or, like just small conversations, she really has a hold on people. So when I found out, I was devastated. I cried as though a member of my family.
And the children loved her. Every morning she came into school, the children drove up, children would meet her at the gate. Some take her bag, some would take her lunch kit and everything and come and follow her like, as they say, the Pied Pipers. Mrs. Braffith was in front and the children were behind. Everybody, Mrs. Braffith, Mrs. Braffith.
But we would really love to have Shirley around. I am particularly saddened by the fact that I know she had some dreams that she was unable to accomplish. She was not able to accomplish because of her untimely passing. But I think that she provided the school, and me in particular, with a certain measure of strength also, because of her vision. And we are forced to find the strength to fulfill her dreams and what she really wanted to do. So that in a sense strengthened us. I think Shirley impacted on my life generally a lot.
It is clear that Shirley's resilient, tenacious spirit transfused with that of Alpha for 25 years after its opening and 7 years after Shirley's tragic departure. Through all misfortunes, Alpha remains steadfast and unwavering. At present, Mrs. Claudia Morgan Carter is charged with the responsibility of steering Alpha along the desired path. Significant improvements have been made to the school. In terms of the physical structure, a new tuck shop has been added to the premises and the computer laboratory has been refined to better suit the needs of student and the staff body.
If we keep up with the iPad and the different things, reading implements that you have that are all digitized, for the students, I think that would make a big difference.
Over the next 25 years, well, sure they wouldn't expect to be around at that time, but one would expect that the school, and one is planning for the school to continue to grow in terms of its curriculum, grow in terms of its embrace of the multi-dimensional aspects of the educational process that almost certainly are going to evolve over the coming years to keep students who graduate competitive. One would also like to know that the younger folk are going to be stepping up and ready to take over the administration and management of the school. And so I can't claim to have a crystal ball for it, we would like to feel that Alpha will, the base on which it has been built, will allow it to continue to thrive through generations with the necessary adaptations that any institution has to go through in a dynamically changing.
And our aim, everybody's aim, is to bring that school back to the standard that it was when Mrs. Brathwaite was here. And the mission of this school says to provide its student with a foundation for lifelong learning. So we really want to keep that mission in our focus and to ensure that when the children leave the school, that it's not just the academics that they have, that they've learned how to learn, that they've learned how to live with their fellow men, that they can work as a team, that they've got IT skills and other skills. We are honestly hoping to push the school forward. We've introduced some new extracurricular activities. We've started a math and science club. We've started a dancercise thing because we know that exercise sends blood to the brain, so that if they exercise a lot, they'll do better academically.
But what I'm going to say is that we're a small school. It's about 220, 210 students, and we are going to go from strength to strength.